تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة.
Marriage in Islam is a sacred union of two destined individuals who unite to display their obedience to Allah. However, seeking this life partner can feel daunting and overwhelming at times. Thankfully, IslamicMarriage.com can make the whole process a lot easier. Use advanced search features that help thousands of brothers and sisters find their match. Take your first steps to a lasting relationship with confidence. Even your parents will agree. IslamicMarriage.com. Join today to complete half of your Deen.
Tariq Halal Meats is just not an ordinary butcher shop, but we're changing the way halal meat is sold to the customers. Modern and hygienically clean, sparkling shops, well-trained staff with finest quality fresh meat, poultry and superb marinated range, yet competitive pricing. Come and experience it for yourself at our branches at Ilford, Upton Park and Leighton. Opening soon at Hounslow, Streatham and Park Royal. Tariq Halal, a brand on its own.
The Syrian crisis. Millions of traumatized families have been forced to flee the warmth of their homes. This winter, they face a new challenge. Heavy winter rains and ice-cold winds threaten to destroy their only shelter. Islamic Relief are working deep inside Syria, distributing blankets and warm clothing, and we need your help. Text RELIEF to 70300 and give a little warmth this winter. Islamic Relief. Donate, campaign, pray.
What? No win, no fee, no deductions, 100% compensation? Really? Really? If you've been injured in a car accident, an accident at work, a trip or a slip on the road, or elsewhere in the last 3 years, call Aman Solicitors Advocates now and cut out the accident management companies. Our professional and specialist team of lawyers will deal with your case on a no-win, no-fee basis. No deductions, 100% compensation.
Chicken curry, pasta bake, fish and chips, pizza maybe. What did you have for dinner last night? Every year, more than 2 million children die due to chronic hunger. Act now. Donate. Orphans in need.
DWFM Beckman Solicitors, located in the heart of central London, offer expert legal advice of the highest quality, uniquely coupled with understanding of religious and cultural sensitivities. Led by our matrimonial partner, Sophia Mosawi, who utilises her considerable experience in acting in high net worth cases for both husbands and wives. We can assist you in all aspects of family law, including divorce, access to children, and financial disputes. Visit dwfmbeckman.com.
Travel Express presents its brand new exclusive Umrah package. You can perform your Umrah now with a special price of £850 in Mecca and Medina. Prices include 4-star accommodation and transportation. Book your place now by calling us on 08000 141419. Travel Express, your ideal Hajj and Umrah tour operator.
Join us on a spiritual journey this winter, reviving the love of the Quran with Imams from Al Haramain, Imam of Kaaba, Sheikh Adil Al Kalbani, Imam of Masjid Qiblatain, Sheikh Mahmoud Khalil Al Qari, coming to a city near you. Visiting over 30,000 Muslims in 4 countries through 17 events. For full tour details, visit theqiblatour.com.
My heart is a pen in your hand. It is all up to you to write me happy or sad. I see only what you reveal and live as you say. All my feelings have the colour you desire to paint. From the beginning to the end, no one but you. Please make my future better than the past. Which famous Maulana wrote this? Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Women's AM. We're live in our London studios to bring you topics of interest, and today's subject is Don't Be Sad, Be Happy. The poem I read to you earlier was none other than Jalal ad-Din Muhammad Rumi, better known as Rumi, a spiritual leader and writer. I wonder how many of you guys knew that. So back to the rest of the show. We bring you thought-provoking news stories in News Bites, and in her views, we discuss ways to overcome our low moments in our lives. And finally, we will give some tips on some marriage issues as well, Insha'Allah. So much to get through. Let's meet our sisters on the panel today. We have our delightful panelists, Liz and Ayan, my Thursday cronies. Salam alaikum. And we have our special guest today, Aisha Islam from Sukoon Counselling. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for coming on to the show. Alhamdulillah, we've got a new year starting, and I know that many people are thinking about what they want to sort of do in the new year as well. I'm thinking about some gardening. I've got this amazing plot of land that we don't really put much good use for. So I wanted to know, you're a bit of a flower or plant pot person?
Oh gosh, I think definitely I'm going to have to say flower, because anything that grows, I'm no good with it. So flowers, they have their shelf life, that's it. I can't really do much damage to them, but any pot plants or gardens or anything like that, I'm no good.
No?
I've tried the whole pot plant thing, it hasn't worked out for me. Every time I get a pot plant, it dies or someone knocks it over or something happens. Yeah. But flowers always tend to work well. They even last longer than the week that's said on the label. So, so flowers, yeah. Definitely.
I think I'm both. I love flowers, I love plants, but I have to be honest, it is my husband that does all the gardening in our house. But it is our children that will break the roses, break the flowers. So every year they never grow the way we would like it to.
My sister, she's really into gardening and stuff, so she's like done a bit of she's grown a bit of callaloo and potatoes. We get the odd potato when we lawnmower, you know, coming up after months. But alhamdulillah. So let's move on to our first segment of today, straight to News Bites. In this segment, the sisters take us through a selection of articles that caught their attention this morning. So, sisters, I'm really looking forward to see what you guys have got to offer us. I'm going to start with you, Ayan. You've got some interesting headlines.
Yeah, I've got one here from The Guardian. In 2014, it's unacceptable for girls in Malawi to be unable to go to school. So this is talking about how, you know, there are still cases of child brides and, you know, the issues that a lot of girls are dropping out of school because they're getting married so young. Yeah. So we've got a young girl here called Shakira Yakti. community, she set up a group to meet weekly for girls who are at risk or girls who've already dropped out of school, to try and help them and to discuss what problems they're facing. And mashallah, surprisingly, she's only 13 years old.
Amazing.
So, you know, she's very forward-thinking, very strong character, inshallah. You know, Allah give her the strength to carry on. Another one here from The Guardian. Is it time to give yourself a photo detox? So this article was about the fact that, you know, with, you know, the day and age that we live in, it's so easy to take pictures. You know, we take it on our phones, we've got our little cameras, all these things. But then, you know, we're not really good at savouring the moments anymore. And we remember less about the events and its details when we're taking photos. So I thought that's pretty interesting. I thought that really applies to me as well. Another one here from the BBC. Intermittent fasting, trying it for science. So scientists want to find out if there is any true benefit to fasting. So the journalist who wrote this article is taking part in a 5-month study where he'll be fasting 5 days a week, 500 calories in those days, and seeing whether that makes any difference. And it reminded me of, you know, our sunnah as Muslims. We fast, you know, twice a week, Monday, Thursday, and mashallah, you know, people are only just getting to find out and to know about the benefits of certain things that we've always known.
It reminds me of the prophetic medicine show that we did quite recently as well, isn't it? That all of these things are coming out now, alhamdulillah, but we've always had it as part of our tradition, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, I've got a funny one for you guys as well, since it's the, you know, a lot of people are celebrating New Year. This one's from the Telegraph. 5 New Year resolutions you really shouldn't make. So they were losing weight, give up smoking, save money, read more great books, and try new experiences. So the person who wrote this article, yes, the classics. And the person who wrote this article said, you've got to be a really lazy person to wait for just one time in the year to decide that you're going to change things in your life. And if, you know, if you can't decide at any point in the year that sitting in front of the telly for 15 hours is no good for you, you know, you're going to need a team of personal trainers in there to haul you and make you do things, otherwise you're never going to do it. So that, I thought that was quite funny. And my main one for you is from the Daily Mail. It's quite a sad one, really. Woman left horrific damage to her nose after botched cosmetic surgery at cut price. So this woman, Rita Nugent, she went for a nose job, and 6 months after getting surgery, her nasal passage caved in. So the doctor who performed the surgery on her has been struck off the medical register because this wasn't the only case of bad surgery that he'd done. And you know, it's funny because it's not the first that we've heard of botched cosmetic surgeries, and it's probably not going to be the last, because a lot of people are wanting to look a certain way, these quick fixes, you know, the pressure of, you know, looking good, because you're looking good equates with success and happiness and being worthy. And you know, it's so sad that, you know, most part it's women, but also men are going through these pressures and the sort of psychological as well as physical damage it's causing on people, and the fact that this is trickling down to young kids as well, that they're so self-conscious that they don't like themselves. So
absolutely, I think one of the sad things about this story as well is the fact that, you know, for people who undergo this, of course there is the self-esteem issue, but we also need to remember that these body parts that we're tampering with don't just have an aesthetic value. They've got an actual function, bodily function. I mean, that's the nose. That's your sort of, it's part of your respiratory system, isn't it? I mean, what do you think about that, Ayesha?
Definitely, it is having an effect on their self-esteem issues, and they're not being happy within themselves. They're trying to make themselves something that they're not. And as a result of that, it's going to transpire into some many different psychological issues as well.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that as well? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And just to pick up on the point that you made, it's more worrying as a parent when you think about your children and the kind of things they're going to be exposed to as they grow up. And it'll break my heart for my daughter to, you know, feel, you know, ugly or uncomfortable with the way she looks, because, you know, obviously we know they're all beautiful, mashallah.
And I think it's also a money-making business.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about materialism, and that's what they're promoting. And unfortunately, our children and just adults as well get caught up in this process.
Definitely.
What's wrong with promoting being happy in your own skin? No, there you go.
Well, we do hope that, you know, such stories don't sort of pop up, but they may very well so. Sister Liz, what about your articles?
Yeah, I've got quite a variation for you today. One from the BBC to start with. Sad story. I'm sure we've all heard about it. Bosham house sitter murder victim named as Valerie Graves. Now this was the lady that was murdered in a friend's house that she was house sitting for on the 28th of December. It was in West Sussex, a very quiet village. They're not used to any crime, so you know this kind of extreme level of crime is completely unknown to them. So just devastating. In Sky News, they're talking about the New Year's honours list and how women are overtaking men, so more women have been honoured with the OBE than men. Among them, actresses Penelope Keith, Ruth Jones, but there's also other categories as well. Margaret Mizzen, who is, of course, the mother of Jimmy Mizzen, who was murdered a few years ago. Her and her husband have received it. And Julie Bailey, who led a campaign to highlight the scandal at Stafford Hospital. She was also awarded as well. But, you know, I don't know, it's kind of a meaningless title, really, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of these sort of figures and personalities are definitely well deserved to be honoured. Definitely,
yeah, recognition.
Definitely, recognition is really important. But I think a lot of people out there might also hold the opinion that sometimes there's so many people on the list that it becomes very overrated, almost a little bit.
No, it does, absolutely. The Daily Mail reported Pakistan appoints a female judge to National Sharia Court for the first time in 33-year history. So, you know, obviously a landmark there. This is quite a funny one, actually. In the Mail again, Kuwaiti woman files for divorce after 1 week of marriage because her husband eats peas using bread rather than a fork.
Wow, that's a new one.
It was a new one on me, actually. But I think what it, you know, it does obviously. When we think about the reasons why we get married as Muslims, you know, this is maybe not a good reason for divorce.
Wow, I would have thought, if anything, you know, if we're going to talk about really crazy reasons for divorcing someone, I would have thought leaving the socks lying about on the floor would be, you know,
I think it's more annoying.
You know, more annoying a thing to leave someone for than peas and bread.
We're just looking at the surface of the issue.
Yeah.
Imagining that when we look at it on a deeper level, there's probably cultural differences and maybe expectations, certain experiences that each person has gone through that's led them to come to these sorts of decisions.
Absolutely, and cultural differences that, you know, we shouldn't kind of underplay them. They are a big issue, aren't they?
Because alhamdulillah, it's beautiful to have different sort of people coming from different cultures coming together in marriage. It's beautiful. It's a sunnah. But sometimes it's something we have to be very careful about what we're expecting from that person.
Yeah, no, there are definitely challenges, absolutely. And my final story, again from the Mail, middle-class poverty and a poignant tale of why this woman cut down her beloved cherry tree. It's actually a very sad story of a lady who, you know, she is middle class, she's working, she is earning, but she's one of the many people that fall into the category that's known as that's suffering from what's known as fuel poverty, and you know, this is affecting a lot of people, and it's devastating to think that somebody who is working, who is considered middle class, can't actually afford to heat their homes, something that's basically, you know, a basic human need. And obviously this tree had sentimental value. She planted it with her father, you know, sort of about 20, 25 years ago, and he's obviously elderly now, and so there was the memories. But this is what's going to heat her house next year, so really she was kind of without a choice. I mean, it does highlight some of the benefits of, you know, living off the land and living off what we can produce ourselves, you know, thinking about you and your potatoes. But again, it does highlight real worries. Obviously, she's thinking this is 1 year's worth of fuel, so after that, you know, what's going to happen?
I mean, this is a new strand of poverty that we're seeing today, isn't it? Where people don't have enough to sort of live, basically. I mean, what do you think about that, Ayan?
I think it's really sad because, you know, it kind of shows the way that, you know, the world is going. Everywhere you go, you hear stories of people living in some sort of poverty, whether it's to do with food, whether it's to do with anything else. And it's just sad that, you know, in what is supposedly a first world country, you would have cases like this. I mean, you even get cases where, you know, elderly people are dying from the cold, you know, in their own homes. You know, why does it have to come to that? You know, why is it that the government, you know, or there isn't a better system in place to actually ensure...
I think there are a lot of schemes on a sort of government governmental and a corporate level, you know, like the sort of individual corporations are recognising this, and they're trying to get schemes out there and, you know, sort of different tariffs so that you're using it most efficiently and paying as little as you can. But, you know, obviously, yeah, still work
But it's
to be
difficult
done.
because at the end of the day, if you're an elderly person, you know, you can't exactly tap onto the internet to find the best deals. It's not,
And
not
it's quite
everybody's that savvy.
complicated. What do you think about this, Aisha, given the points that they've made?
Yeah, definitely. I think it is on the increase, and knowing how the current climate is, everything's, in terms of costs, everything's increasing, salaries are decreasing, and hence why these situations are becoming more common. And it is about, it needs to be addressed, and it is very sad. It's very sad that people are living just based on basic needs, and how much stress and how much worries that can cause for people.
SubhanAllah, that was a very interesting selection of articles there. Barakallah feek for that and your comments as well. As always, alhamdulillah, we always have an interesting news section. We've had a dynamic start to the show, but we are off to a quick break now. Grab yourself a quick cup of tea, because after the break, we'll be back with her views to discuss Don't Be Sad. So see you in a few moments, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Off.
Hajj, a journey to the blessed land, a journey to the house of Allah, a journey you will never forget. To perform this spiritual journey of a lifetime, start saving with Oasis today. Invest in your future. The Oasis Crescent Way, the compliant way. For more information, visit our offices at 50 Hands Crescent, Knightsbridge, or call us on 0808 238 7543.
Over the years, thousands of you have wrapped up warm in your jumpers, scarves, gloves and hats, ready to brave the winter cold to walk 5 miles for the children of Gaza. This year brings the 6th annual Winter Walk to London, Manchester, Birmingham and Leicester. So start the new year fresh with your family and friends and walk the 5 miles for a great cause. Spread the word and register online today by visiting muslimhands.org.uk or by calling us today.
We know accidents can happen anytime, whether it's an injury at work, a slip, trip, or a road traffic accident. At Claim 500, we ensure you receive 100% of your compensation. Due to recent changes in law, solicitors are now able to charge up to 25% of your compensation. We don't charge you a single penny, even if your claim is unsuccessful. Call Claim 500 now on 0845 8123 456. Claim 500, helping you bounce back.
I've never been to a boarding school before. What's it like?
New school. New term. New rules. The House of Ibn Kathir. The competition begins. An exciting new children's book, available now. For more details, go to ibnkathir.co.uk. Get your copy now.
Women's AM with myself, Abdullah, and in our panel today we have sisters Liz, Ayan, and our special guest for today, Sister Aisha Aslam from Sukoon Counselling, alhamdulillah. So Sukoon Counselling is a therapy or a counselling organisation. Yes. How did it actually begin? What was the brains behind it?
Initially, it was myself. I set up Sukoon in 2006, and what actually happened is I noticed that there was no professional Muslim counselling organisation out there. And that's what led me to inspire myself to set up Sukoon. And alhamdulillah, we've made it into an organisation now. We've got over 15 therapists on board.
Wow, mashallah. So what kind of other services does Sukoon offer?
Well, we offer individual counselling, we work with couples, we work with families, we also deliver training to various different organisations. And recently we were in Cardiff and we basically offered a training towards 6 different universities to help them to set up an emotional support service for their students and how to work with Muslim clients.
What service have you found is the most popular?
It's funny enough because initially it was very much individuals and there was a lot of sisters that contacted us, but it's actually now become couples. So the most clients that we actually get are couples.
That's good.
And it's also males, brothers that actually contact us as well. So things have actually changed, and it shows that people are becoming more aware about counselling and the benefits of counselling. And the way we work at Sukoon is we combine mainstream therapy with Islamic counselling, and that's what we've noticed has been the best combination when you're working with Muslim clients.
Excellent.
From our discussion earlier as well, I mean, you discussed about how you have been like working with Muslim student organisations and bodies to help support them in delivering counselling services to Muslim students.
Yes. We basically train them up in terms of counselling and looking at Islamic key issues as well, which can be very specific when it comes to Muslims. So when it comes to their culture or their religion or their identity, it's about having that understanding and that connection with them to be able to address these sorts of issues. But we work across the board. So I've also, I'm a committee member for an organisation that deals with domestic violence. So there's lots of different things that we're doing.
There's a lot of different things that you guys do, which is amazing. Alhamdulillah. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about that later as well in our discussion. Well, we'll be going on to our next segment now with her views. How many times do we cry to ourselves because we're stuck in a rut and the consequences are grim when we feel down, experience low self-esteem and feel anxious? Our own tests emerge from all angles, whether it's our own self-worth, issues with the people around us, we can't let go of the past, identity confusion, money problems, societal pressures, and even our deen. That is not even highlighting all of our worries and despairs. Yet we must constantly remind ourselves that our afflictions are only a test from the Creator, who is all-knowing of our affairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ar-Rahman, verse 29, "Whoever is in the heavens and on earth begs of him. Every day he has a matter to bring forth, such as giving honor to some, disgrace to some, life to some, and death to some." We strive hard to take that first step to overcome the problem, but we all need that extra push to finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. The cure and hope lies in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but how do we hold on to His rope? And how do we